We need to talk about the problems in the property investment industry. I just saw this article the other day about one of my competitors, Propeller Property Investments. They've got a date in the High Court to see if the company will go into liquidation. But when I read the comments, it's really clear that there are some bad practices going on in the property investment industry. And that includes problems with us here at Opes Partners. So today we're going to read some of these bad reviews, address them openly and honestly. And through all of this, you'll learn how to avoid the top 5 problems with companies like Opes and other property investment companies. Now, big bias alert, you might think, hang on, he's reviewing his own company, his competitors, and his industry. He's biased. Look, this is going to be an open and honest review. And if by the end of it you don't think I've been unbiased, let me know down in the comments section with the reason why, and we'll have a good discussion. I read one comment saying that some of these companies, in this case Staircase, collect large and outrageous commissions, potentially up to $80,000. And what they said is that the developers will just put up the price by $80,000 for their clients. Now, again, this isn't about ripping into our competitors. This is about pointing out the problems in the industry and telling you how to avoid them. Now, the way that most property investment companies make their money is they work with developers. So they'll have a range of new build properties to recommend to you, and if you buy one of those, they will then earn a fee from the developer. And the risk here is that they charge the developer a massive fee, they just put up the price of the property, and you end up paying more for a property than it's actually worth, all while the company is telling you that it's a good investment. Now, there are 2 ways to tackle this. Number 1 is to get a valuation on any property you buy from a property investment company. That way you know the true value of the property you're buying. The second way is if you're worried about whether the property investment fee is too high, ask for a disclosure statement. So they legally need to give you this anyway if they're a financial advisor. And this should say the exact dollar amount that they are charging the developer or the percentage of the property's price they earn if you actually buy that property. Now, if that fee seems higher than a regular real estate fee, say up around that $80,000 mark, I'd be a bit careful. One last thing, some dodgy property investment companies will also buy a property off a developer and then try and sell it to you for a higher price. Well, how do you avoid that? The first thing I'd do is check the name on the contract and make sure that the person selling you this property is not the same name as the company that you're buying the property from. And the last thing is you can also get your lawyer to check this with the company's office. One other problem I've seen is if their programs cost a lot of money. So I read one comment on Reddit about Opes, my company, where someone said that they had used our Accelerate program and they don't recommend it. The reason for that is 95% of the value that we give is freely available online. And I actually think this is a really fair comment. There is a lot of free information about property investment online, and quite a bit of it from us. And in our old Accelerate program, people paid around $23,000 to get coaching on how to renovate properties. Now, that's a lot of money and is roughly the market rate, what other people charge as well. Now, the big problem I see here is that people buy these programs for the wrong reason. So these $20,000 programs, often, as you said, they don't teach you a lot of new stuff. Most of that information is free online these days anyway. But these mentoring programs, they're really there to help you apply that general knowledge on the internet to a specific situation and a specific property. So you've got someone to call and say, well, how do I fix this? What do I do here? Now, some people love that and think it's worth the money, and some people don't. So how do you avoid getting into that situation where you think, oh, I wish I didn't spend $20,000 on that? Well, the first thing is be really, really clear with yourself. Are you there for the knowledge or are you there for the mentoring? If you want the knowledge, these programs often aren't the right fit for you. If you want the mentoring, it could be the right fit. Now, in the end, we realized that that kind of 20 grand mentoring service for existing properties, that's not the right fit for us either. So here at Opes, we closed down that paid program. Now we only do new builds and don't charge you a fee for it. But that leads to another problem too that we need to talk about. Another one I hear a lot about is conflicts of interest. So if you go and talk to a property investment company, they are getting paid by the developer, but they're recommending a property to you because it's a good investment. And this person said, well, to my mind, there is a clear conflict of interest here because they can't work satisfactorily for both sides of the deal, to this person's mind at least. So if you buy a property through a property investment company, they're telling you to buy this property because it's a good investment, but they get paid by the developer, not you. So maybe they're just telling you it's a good investment to get you to buy it. Well, the first thing to recognize is that there is a conflict of interest. We at Opes get paid if you buy a property. That is real. And you need to watch out for these kinds of conflicts because they are everywhere in the finance industry. I mean, mortgage brokers, they get paid commission by banks. So they have an incentive to put you with a bank that pays them the highest commission. If you go to a financial advisor at Craig's or Milford, they've got their own managed funds. They're going to be advising you to invest in their funds. Even an accountant you pay by the hour has an incentive to spend a long time doing your taxes so they can charge you more money. Conflicts are everywhere. The question is whether you know about it so you can look out for dodgy behavior. And that's why I'm telling you about it in this video. So you can say, is Opes or some property investment company, are they doing the right thing for me or are they doing the right thing for themselves and the developer? And even after that, some of you will say, no, it's a no-go for me. There's a conflict of interest and I'm not comfortable with it. And if that's you, you should definitely not use us. You should go out and you should invest on your own because you'll never see us as a trusted advisor. You'll only ever see us as salespeople. But if on the other hand, you say, actually, your service is free, I like what you do, there is a conflict of interest there, but you're upfront about it, and I think I can look out for that, well, then we could be the right fit for you. It's really up for you to decide. Now, just before we get to number 4, am I keeping my promise to be unbiased? Let me know down in the comments section and keep me honest. I saw another comment from about a year ago. Someone was asking why us and Mortgage HQ, who are another YouTuber, why were we so bullish about property when the market was so grim? They were saying even a kid knows it's not the right time to do anything with property. And one person said, well, Opes get paid a commission for selling developments off the plan. Of course they're going to be pushing people to buy. So really what they're saying is, Ed, you're showing me these graphs, but maybe you've cherry-picked data to try and get me to invest. And I actually see this all over the investment industry. A fund manager might show you their average return over 10 years, but they've cherry-picked the best performing 10-year period to make it look like they always beat the market. And this is where your bullcrap detector really comes in. And some people put out good information and some people put out self-serving information. And you need to do your own research to figure out who's right and who's not. So don't just listen to me, listen to a range of commentators out there to come to your own view. Now, in this specific case, we were very bullish on property a year ago because we thought it was the bottom of the market. And the data says we were right about this. So I'm recording this in April 2024. This comment came up a year ago, so probably April 2023. And if we look at what happened to the market, property prices bottomed out in May 2023. So we basically got that right at that point. That's why we were so bullish. And I think in this case, it is a bit easier for people online to say, Ed's biased, rather than saying, I think you're wrong based on X, Y, Z facts. And of course, I don't get it right all the time because I'm making predictions about the future, which hasn't happened yet. But I aim to present the facts in the right way. And if you're the sort of person who likes to learn about the facts when it comes to property, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We release new videos every Monday and Wednesday. And the last common problem with property investment companies is that you buy a property and then sometimes you never hear from them again. So I saw this one where this investor had purchased a property. They were told it would be ready in 5 to 6 months, but it took 2 years for the build to be complete. And the real issue was they said there was no real support from this property investment company, and their advice is you're going to be told to deal with the developers directly and do all of the chasing yourself. And as a financial advisor, it's easy to recommend a property, easy to get the sale. It's harder to manage the developers and pull finger when things go wrong. And things do go wrong, and no company will ever get it perfect 100% of the time. I'll tell you a story. One of our clients bought a property through another property investment company, not us. They bought a piece of land and started paying the mortgage on that piece of land while they're waiting for the property to be built. Now, 6 months later, she called up the developer and asked where the property is. They'd forgotten to start building it. So she's paying a mortgage worth a couple of $100,000 waiting for the property to be built so she can start to get some rent. And neither the developer nor the property investment company picked it up. And she said to me that the financial advisor from that other company effectively said, not our problem. So when you're choosing a property investment company, ask what systems do they have in place for build updates? Who manages it in the team? Who do I contact if something goes wrong? Now, in our case, we've got 7 customer relationship managers who manage those build updates for our clients. And if you want to see who they are, head to our website, opespartners.co.nz. We help regular Kiwis grow their wealth through new build investment properties.